friend Alex AJ.
Yes.
FIFA agent.
Agent AJ.
Yes, he's for the incredible things you're doing to spread the love of the game across the country. And thank you for the goodies you have sent us. We'll make good use of it.
You know what is interesting? The word agent is a positive. When I was young, when they say agent, it was a very wild
word. Yeah.
If your mother says somebody is an agent,
so
they say the agent is a good profession.
Thank you very much, Alex AJ, for the jerseys and everything else.
Right.
We are very happy to distribute them, and
we
will work with that. Also, a couple of birthdays that have come. So happy birthday to Uriel Meshach Usefri. God bless you, son. You are my pride and joy, from Elisha Usu and Sa.
Okay.
Let's also come in. Okay.
Right. I have one here. Happy birthday to Daniel Safaro of SIC Life. This is coming from Howard to Daniel Safaro of SIC Live. And this one says, if it was not for God, the story would have been different. 6 years ago today, Mercy smiled on us and blessed us with a son. Happy birthday to Francis Ezra Papa in Kwefi Arthur. Okay. Wishing you God's goodness and mercy from your parents and siblings, William, Nanaraba, Enna, and Rama. So to Francis, happy birthday to you.
And to Natasha Anoa Edujemfi, aka Manya1, aka Tasha Trump of NIB head office. You are deeply loved and cherished by all. May you live long to continue fulfilling unmatched love for humanity. You are special indeed. This is from Don Piano Malam.
But today is Tajuddin's birthday.
Wow, Tajuddin Abdullah.
Vox Central. Yeah.
City TV, City FM Channel One's representative to the Savannah region.
Yeah, man. Damongo, to be precise, under the table specifically.
From Damongo to the world. So happy birthday to you, Tajuddin Abdullah. Watch out for Tajuddin on the Heritage Caravan. He's growing into a very, very erudite tour guide. And his knowledge around the communities, particularly in the northern part of the country, very impressive indeed. So good morning, Tajuddin Abdullah. And even though Tajuddin works in the programs department,
he does a lot of things.
During the election, he helped us so much in Savannah with his reportage.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many people who work around media who can actually do journalism that you don't know. So Tajuddin, happy birthday to you. So I wanted to just point out two things quickly before I deal with my main problem. So Dr. Dufour said something about chiefs being integrated into our development, and we sort of glossed over it, right? And
you agree?
Yes, you know, before independence, it was the chiefs who were leading us in our quest to basically develop. So we were organized around chiefs. And when the British came, they used indirect rule. So they worked with chiefs and traditional rulers to govern. And there have been some very, very influential chiefs who've done a lot of great work in our history. So I think we should rethink the role of chiefs. I'm not necessarily saying we should do this or that. I think sometimes a life that you don't reflect on is not worth living. So what Dr. Dufour has said is an opening for us to think about what we can do with traditional authority. Because if I look at normal political authority in the way our politics works, they've not been that great. Right? So you can't necessarily say that because chieftaincy has had problems and that there have been issues of chieftaincy disputes, chiefs almost have become second fiddle, except one or two very powerful ones. And I think if I look at how dysfunctional local government has become, think about it. If the Adabraka Manche says that today we are not going out because we are doing homework, we will listen. If he says we should do cleanup, we'll follow him.
Yes.
Good. We don't even know who the MCE for Adabraka is as we speak.
You mean Clote?
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a certain we can deploy. So last week Monday I went to the Gamanche to pay a courtesy call on him on behalf of City and ChannelOne. And look, the things he's been able to do in 2 years, just using the power of who he is. All right. People just come and pay a courtesy call on me, and then he'll make an important point. He gets media coverage. He spoke about the girl child education. He's getting support for that. It's a very powerful position. And I think, I'm not saying like we should make them necessarily become part of the political system, but there should be some roles that we can assign to them to help block the gaps in our governance system. I think a weak link in our governance system is our local government. Our local government is very weak, partly because it's seen as the spoils of war for the winning party. So they don't really approach it from the perspective of who can do the work. They look at it from the perspective of who can we reward so that it doesn't cause problems for us locally. So I know that some of the people are competent, but generally speaking, they are solving political problems with those appointments. They are not necessarily trying to say, let's get the best guy with a track record of reform, who's solid enough to bring discipline to our trust, our markets and our public spaces. That's not what they look for. They look for somebody who appeals to all sides, who's not going to rock the boat, who has the right ethnic balance. I mean, you can't move a country forward with such thinking. Okay, so I'm saying a lot of things in one, but I'm saying local governance is weak. Imagine if the government just says we should make Accra clean.
What stops him?
And then he declares, he tried that last time.
What's stopping him?
I'm encouraging him.
Yeah, because on the first point you made, I disagree.
Which part of the
The
point?
one about the role of chiefs and that they should be given a role. The roles exist.
Or they are
It's
not
up to
using
them to take it up. You said, but for a few powerful chiefs.
Yeah.
There are a lot of chiefs who are not that powerful in this country, who are doing incredible things in their communities, whose communities are civil, whose communities are clean. There was one recently last year who was making a lot of waste. I don't know which area, but Bernard, if you visit the area for,
Is it Tepa?
it's not. I don't know if it's just Tepa.
There was a chief.
There was a chief.
Who spent his money to do
the roads are being fixed.
Right. And the
He's
place
building a
really
library.
clean.
They are putting up gardens. The community he has shown that he's leading. So in that way, he has moral authority in addition to legitimacy.
But if you say what stops them is resources.
What resources do they need?
Financial resources.
To do what?
To mobilize. To organize.
No.
You don't think so?
Bernard, I was a young boy in Kumasi when this current Asante Hene took over. At the time, there was a sanitation problem. There was what they felt was a moral decadence problem, because at that time, there was the era of the baggy jeans, there was the shiny jeans, the big tops.
1999.
Earrings,
2000.
yes. Earrings had come on. Schoolboys were doing their own thing. Bernard, the instruction went out. We clean on these days. You are not supposed to wear, young boys of a certain age are not supposed to dress like A, B, C, D. If they see you, you will have problems. At that time, you dare not, Bernard.
People complied.
Bernard, you will comply. You will comply. And it is not just there. I am sure some of us who come from certain communities whose chiefs know how to use their authority will tell you that when there are problems, their chiefs use that authority to solve those problems.
So you're saying
and it's not necessary.
we don't need any new powers.
No,
the powers already exist.
Yes. You see, what we have is what has diluted the authority of the chiefs, one, is how people actually even become chiefs now.
The lack of clarity.
There is lack of clarity on who
ascension
becomes a chief. There's the haggling over gates and houses as to who is. So one person comes in, and in the same area there are three people challenging that person's authority.
Yeah.
You understand? So how can that person mobilize in his community? You understand? If you go to Doma, again, those who come from there will tell you the Doma Hene does a lot in the community. It's not. I don't think it's costing millions, but it is the mobilization of his citizens that on this day, this is where we are going. We are going to clean. On this day, we do not want to see this here. Go also recently, said they will not be celebrating Valentine's Day. Did anybody celebrate Valentine's Day there? No. Did he need the police? What he needed was a show of his traditional authority. So traditional executioners were seen marching in town. They don't really have legal policing powers. Somebody could actually meet them and challenge them and say, Master, who are you? But people respect the fact that the chief has said that for this period, this is what we do. So I think that we don't need new roles assigned to the chiefs. There is more than enough space for them, if they are legitimate, to mobilize, to keep their
let me read
clean.
Let me read what Dr. Dufour is saying. The story is in graphic page 13, Samododu. Statesman Dr. Kwabena Dufour has called for the reintegration of chiefs into the country's governance system, arguing that their marginalization has contributed to social and economic decline, especially in rural areas. In his write-up to share perspectives on the issue titled Empowering Our Chiefs, he made a strong case for revitalizing the chieftaincy institution to strengthen national unity and drive local development. Historically, chiefs played a crucial role in local governance, security, and land management. Before colonial rule, they were at the heart of the community affairs, acting as mediators and custodians of law and order. However, the 92 Constitution significantly reduced their influence, limiting their duties to customary affairs. Dr. Dufour, a former governor of the Bank of Ghana and former Minister of Finance, stated that the shift had weakened the chieftaincy institution, leading to social disintegration. Our chiefs, once the backbone of our governance structure, have been sidelined, leaving communities vulnerable to lawlessness, rural exodus, and moral decay, he stated. With chiefs lacking financial support, he said many had been unable to address key developmental challenges in their areas. To address such challenges, Dr. Dufour proposed a renewed partnership between chiefs and the government. He advocated the allocation of 20% of local revenue to traditional authorities to fund development projects, arguing that empowering chiefs would lead to stronger rural economies, improved education, and better infrastructure.
Yes.
If we give our chiefs the necessary resources and authority, they will be able to combat pressing issues like illegal mining, youth unemployment, and rural poverty, he stated. He believes that chiefs, being deeply rooted in their communities, are better positioned to oversee local development effectively. Dr. Dufour, who is also a founder of the Institute for Fiscal Studies, Ghana, called for policy and legislative reforms to restore the authority of chiefs in governance. He suggested an integration plan that would allow chiefs to actively participate in policy implementation and collaborate with faith leaders, local government, and development agencies. The economist and entrepreneur also emphasized the importance of cultural preservation, warning that sidelining traditional institutions weaken Ghana's national identity. A nation that abandons its tradition loses its soul. Our chieftaincy institution is not just a relic of the past, it's the pillar of our heritage and governance. He outlined a clear vision of a restructured governance model where chiefs would not only be empowered but also be accountable. By restoring their influence, he believes the country could bridge governance gaps, reduce Accra's over-concentration, and bring life back to rural communities. Quote, empowering our chiefs is not just about nostalgia, it's about creating a stronger, more balanced nation. When our traditional leaders are given the tools to lead, Ghana prospers, he said. His call for action urges policymakers to reconsider the role of traditional leaders in governance, emphasizing that chieftaincy was not just a relic of the past, but a vital institution for Ghana's future.
Let me ask you a question, Bernard, again.
So that was Dr. Dufour, yes.
Which part of Accra can you build without the permission of the chief in your area?
But that's passive, not active.
You think you can build?
What I'm saying is that, you see, he's calling for active power, not passive power.
No.
What you're saying is passive. They have the power which they use.
Yes.
But it's not.
So the person can tell you can't build here until you have satisfied certain requirements.
Not directly. Not directly.
Bernard.
Not directly.
Bernard, when you are putting up your house and they come and they say you have to pay the building fee, you tell them you pay.
Yeah, but that's not the same as. You see, he's talking about a structured
I understand, Bernard,
way of governance.
I understand exactly what he said. The question I'm asking, I want you to reflect on why the person is able to do certain things, but then on the same page, we are saying the person cannot do certain things. If the person can prevent you from putting up a house until you satisfy certain norms that must be satisfied in the area, why can't that person use that same influence to tell you to clean up? And when they say don't, because if you don't pay, you will have problems.
But I'm saying that's beyond. The man is asking for more.
Bernard, I am
They've
saying
been sidelined.
no.
You don't think they've been sidelined?
No, I'm saying they have
power.
They have a share of what our modern society has given them,
Formally or informally.
formally and informally, both.
So they should use it.
They should use it. They are not using it. You see, and that is, you see, there are two things here for me when it comes to this. A lot of our chiefs are too vested in optics and politics without doing their job. So a lot of them have come to the conclusion that the only way they can be relevant is with political alignments. So rather than looking for societal or area alliances, they feel that the only way I can get actual power as a chief is to court the influence of the center.
Wow.
So we have a house of chiefs who we have governments who buy cars for chiefs.
Yeah.
Bernard,
They are even now promising, the Minister of Local Government is even promising a stipend for chiefs.
ask anybody.
You do think that's a good idea?
No, I'm coming. I'm going to tell you. Anybody who comes from Akwemu to tell you about the late Kwafu Akuto, the former paramount chief of the area, when he was there, and his relationship with, at the time,
Rollins.
Jerry Rawlings.
So this was a chief who understood his power and did not allow himself to be a pawn of a politician.
This was a chief for whom Jerry Rawlings was late for an event, and he sent him away.
That was 1 in 1,000.
But he understood his authority.
Yeah, that's. So you're saying that instead of asking us to integrate them into the governance, the chiefs should reassert themselves based on authority they already have that they are not using.
They are not using. Again,
They are not using.
I make the point to you.
Okay.
So when
So you think politics is the problem?
you see,
The optics and the politics.
hold on. When the people moved to Agbobloshi, sorry, Kantamanto, what did the Gbese chief do?
He actually said they should not go there.
Yes.
But did they listen?
No. He said the area had been purchased for A, B, C, D. Right?
Yeah.
And so you cannot go there until certain things have been fulfilled. He spoke about it.
Yeah.
Did he talk to the police about it? Hold on, two.
But politicians went there to give the people donations. So whilst the chief spoke, the politicians went to give roofing sheets.
Hold
So
on.
that's the problem.
No. But if the chief of Gbese, or the Gbese manager, which is now a paramountcy, had decided at that point that he will mobilize the resources, the traditional resources of Gbese, to say, you cannot occupy this place. Because sometimes it's not just the people. Sometimes all you do is you get there and you see the red calico there. And they tell you that you cannot come here.
There's a regional minister and there's also a mayor of some sort.
No, the day you spoke to the PRO,
There was
we
nobody
understood the problem.
So you're
because
saying
between
Yeah.
that place, there are 3 or 4 municipalities running through.
So you believe that he could have gone further?
If he wanted
He
to.
could have gone further to. Maybe he was using respectful self-restraint.
Yes.
Because he didn't want to create a problem where there will be 2
Exactly.
or 3 authorities on the same issue.
True.
But he sounded the alarm through the media and hoped that reasonable people will listen.
Yes, but he could have been persistent with it. Could he not have?
Possibly.
Exactly. So imagine if I don't like doing comparisons, but if the situation were reversed
different place.
in a different place, and
But you also need to understand that Accra has suffered. So,
I get it.
having the capital in Accra makes it more difficult for chiefs in this space to assert themselves because of the urbanization, the commercial interests, the heavy concentration of political power in Accra, it reduces their ability to assert themselves, which is why I think this government is doing pretty well in terms of sort of drawing attention back to the importance of the institution. So the regional capital may not be the best place to use, but let's take Central Region or Volta Region, for example. Are you saying that the chiefs have enough power to... They don't have resources. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
During the Volta flooding,
Yes.
Akosombo Dam spillage, the place was overrun. When we went to some communities, the chiefs were happy to meet us.
Yes.
Because they didn't have resources to give to the people.
Yes.
In fact, we got to a particular town around 11 p.m. I was with Richard Sky. And the chief said they had been sitting since 8,
Yes.
waiting for us. And
Yes.
that they were so happy that we had mobilized from Accra to come and help his people.
Yes.
So when we got there, they prayed for us, and then they did the greetings, and then he received the items on behalf of the people. So imagine if he had the resources. He would have not. He didn't have needed me to come from Accra.
No, no matter what, in that instance, that you need the center. But imagine this also: the speed with which the things you did there were done. Would it have been possible without the chiefs?
Oh, to be honest with you, it was by way of courtesy, because you see the area is so vast, and there's no central authority in the 18 districts that we did this intervention. So it starts all the way from what do you call it? In fact, it started all the way from the Buipe down to Ketu South. So in some communities, we didn't even meet the chiefs. In some communities, you just meet the assemblyman. But yes, in a lot of the communities, the chiefs...
No, I'm talking about the places where you met the chiefs. That's what I'm talking about.
No. Everywhere we went, the chiefs had to be there. So for any formal event you go, if the chief is not there, you can't do it.
And I'm saying that you don't think that the authority of the chiefs in land acquisition, in free flow of the work, in availability of a certain kind of labor for a certain period, that perhaps at a certain rate, or you don't think traditional authority influenced those things?
It did. They were very important.
Yes, that's the point I'm making to you. Because if they had also decided to put the standard impediments in your way,
in fact, in one community,
you would not have made that move.
In one community where we struggled, I can say there was there was a disagreement between the traditional authorities, and therefore we couldn't proceed because there were two views on what to be done
and where to situate it.
And it affected the project till today.
Yes.
So you're right. But I don't know.
Again, last year when we were talking Galamsey, there was a queen mother. And thank you for those who have. They said the chief we're talking about is the chief of Dumesuya.
Okay.
Near Sunyai. Yes, who has been doing some great work. There was a queen mother who took it upon herself to tell her people that the water bodies in their community should not be touched. Till as we speak, nobody has dared to go and touch the water bodies in that area. And it's not a small area. There's nobody policing it. When Sefiri, also Paramount Chief, Bumagama, decided that he had enough of the people who were misbehaving there and stood up, has anybody dared to go and misbehave in his town again? No. So there are what resources did Bumagama have? What resources did that queen mother have?
So you're saying that the chiefs have the power already. They should just use it.
Bernard, some of them already have significant resources. In private life, some of the chiefs, as we know them, are very resourceful people. That is what a chief is. You are supposed to draw on your local authority, draw on local partnership and networks. Nobody's expecting a chief to build a highway. That, of course, is for the center. But I don't see how much more powerful we want a chief to get now to be able to do some of the things that they are not doing.
He's not calling for power, he's calling for integration.
I don't know how much more integrated we want them to get to say that you cannot litter. So what does the chief of Kaneshie need to say that? Because if today there were to be a funeral, a royal funeral in Kaneshie,
and they said we should do a cleanup,
they will issue an edict that you can't come to the market on this day. They dare not set foot there.
They can even say we should do cleanup the day before, and they will do it.
No, I'm just saying that they will even issue an edict and tell you that
No market day.
no selling on this day because we are doing this. What resources will be used to police that edict?
I get your point.
But everybody in Kaneshie will obey.
So they should be more proactive.
Yes.
Without being, don't you think they sometimes they may feel like they are usurping the authority of the formal government institution, like the regional minister or the local government minister or the.
Which is why I spoke about networking. You must always have a good relationship, but it doesn't mean give your power away, and it doesn't also mean let them usurp yours.
Fair enough. So that was shut down quite quickly.
I'm not shooting it down.
2 minutes past 8.